Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. Kelly, I know it's probably a great day, but how's your day going?
Is it ever a bad day? Is it ever a bad day, Elizabeth? Come on. It's a mindset thing, right? I'm going to stay on that. People are like, yeah, this guy's crazy a little bit, but you know what? It's a good day. It's a great day.
Good. And I ask every time just to see if it'll change, but no, because Kelly chooses it. He chooses to be happy and make it a great day. So
I love it.
Perfect. Amen. Well, I wonder if Bethany is also having a great day. We've got Bethany Vooys with us. She is the Director of Expansion over at the Huffaker Group. And she's going to be talking to us a lot today about what we discovered is a hot topic, right? And that is kind of growing from, the simple, and I don't want to say simple, but kind of where you start off servicing clients. And while that is extremely important, at some point you want to grow, right? You want to grow your team and expand. So Bethany, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I love that. I'm going to choose the same mindset. It's a beautiful day. Nothing to be upset about. So it's a great day here in Nashville.
Love it. And she talks a lot slower than me, guys. So that's even better, right? So
that's right. I don't have to think of as many words if I talk slower, so it's helpful.
Love it. Well, I'm glad you're on the podcast, like Elizabeth said here, Bethany. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be kind of action packed here. We're gonna get after it. This is the topic. This is the topic that the community in real estate is starving for. I really believe that, right? So, guys, to have a specialist on here like Bethany herself, who has been there, done that in the realm of scaling businesses. And by the way, one of the aspects, I'm not going to steal her secret sauce, but one of the aspects is you got to be able to lead others, right? You have to, and have them have success. So we're going to find out today kind of what she thinks about that, what she recommends to do to have success in those arenas. So Bethany, if you don't mind, I'd like to just give you an opportunity here to just, if you could, just give us a little background. Like, did you grow up as a born leader? Did you start selling real estate when you were 8 years old? Like, where'd you come from? What'd you do?
I love it. I did not. So my background actually is a little jumbled, if I'm being totally honest. So I got into the real estate industry about 6 years ago, and that came by way of KW leadership first, and just knew quite a few people over in the Keller Williams world, and they had been talking to me and saying, hey, why don't you come over? We've got some amazing staff and leadership opportunities that we think we'd be a great fit for. And I put it off and finally made the jump. Through those opportunities, we know KW is this limitless place. I was able to find additional opportunities. Prior to real estate was some education background that I have, and honestly being a stay-at-home mom for a piece during that too, when my kids were real little. And honestly, I've said in interview after interview that my jobs don't always, or have not always, looked similar. There hasn't been one consistent industry until lately. And the reason being is the one key thing that I've been attracted to is serving others. And I think that is the great statement of leadership. And one of my favorite quotes is, if serving is beneath you, leadership is beyond you. And so in every career and opportunity, I'm constantly looking for, how do I get into relationships with others and serve them at a high level? And through that, I'll find great leadership and be able to excel at that. Because there's no perfect leaders, but we can constantly be fixing and tweaking the service side of how we best bring value to others. And that, to me, was what has always been attractive about leadership roles, is the service piece. And so now I've been in real estate for 6 years and a part of the Huffaker Group for the last 4. And we've grown this amazing expansion organization built on serving others.
Love it. Okay. So were you fixated on leadership prior to the Huffaker Group when you joined in real estate? Were you doing some leadership capacity role at all elsewhere?
Yeah. So always definitely been in leadership roles, and that started really young for me, whether that was student council president or, president of some club. At times, I definitely got the bossy nickname growing up. And then that turned into, right, teaching, which I do think, right, you're leading a classroom. So that was really important to me, and leading others. And then through KW, I started out in agent services there at my local market center. And then that turned into somewhat of an assistant team leader role, and then began to really search after team leader roles in the KW world. Through those processes, found that teams were looking for team leaders, and what a unique opportunity to build something different. And so that's how I came to know David, and then him and I created a partnership. So initially we were looking at expansion long term, but it started out really much like a team leader would in a market center, recruiting talent locally to our hub office. And then through that, we were able to build systems and models that would support the expansion network that we have today.
Okay, so just FYI, guys, it sounds like Bethany was the kind of college classmate that I would love to have in a group project.
Yeah, I don't know, that probably my group project members would disagree with you.
I would sit back and kind of watch Bethany kind of do her thing. I'd just be, hey, as long as I get the same grade, what does it matter, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just kidding.
Great
Okay,
to know about you, Kelly.
Yeah,
Great to know.
I should have admitted that. I should not have admitted that right now. I apologize, everyone out there listening. Okay, so recruiting, very important, right? You can't hire unless you at least try to recruit a little bit, right? What are your steps? Let me ask you this: how are you able to identify at least the people that you want to at least have a conversation with? Because your time is valuable. You can't have hour and a half conversations, interviews all day long with everybody. So like, how does that work?
Yeah. I mean, I think talent comes in a lot of different forms, and wherever you're recruiting to, whatever industry or whatever team or whatever you're trying to grow locally, I think what started for me was understanding the vision of what we were building and having some real strict non-negotiables around that. As soon as we knew that profile of a candidate, because of these were our non-negotiables, this is who we are, you begin to see that show up around you in your co-op agents, in your office, out in the community. You're the girl waiting your table at a restaurant. All of a sudden you're so clear on what those qualities would be, you begin to pick up on them really quickly. And then it would start with a really simple question. Hey, I think you're a really talented person, and I'd love to have a conversation about an opportunity that we have in our organization. When's the next time you can grab coffee, right? And then from there, we would follow going through the CV process, right? That first conversation is just casting a vision about the opportunity. So again, clarity around what your vision is. And for me, being on a team, David is really our visionary, right? He's the rainmaker. He's our team owner. I saw myself as this concierge to the vision. And so it was my job to understand it at such a high level that whether they spoke with me or David, the vision was always the same.
So would you consider yourself like more like an integrator, like the integrator, and in Rocket Fuel?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Visionary?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's this amazing place where you can build businesses inside of other people's businesses, but understanding their vision, and David's fit so well with mine. And so now it's my job to go cast that same vision that he's had, that got me so excited about the opportunity for the right talent that we're now looking for across all our locations.
Love it. Okay. That's a great point. So you may have some metrics you want to hit, right? Like I would like to have so many interviews every month or week, whatever, but it's bigger than that, right? It's a little more organic than that too, trying to identify candidates that fit that profile. I love that. Once you know what the vision is, you got to be clear on that. That's huge. That's huge. Okay. So I'm going to ask a question I know everybody wants the answer to. So the secret sauce on this one here, Bethany, how do you recruit producing agents?
I think talent is in three forms, right? We've got our potential talent. We don't know. They've got a lot of great characteristics. We've got our emerging. They've proved it a little bit. And we have that proven talent. So those proven producers are that proven talent. They know their talent. They're showing up. They're living into that talent right now. Recruiting them, again, I think that's just such a fun opportunity, because if the vision aligns with where they're going and you can show them a path to get there quicker, why wouldn't that be a conversation someone wants to have? Mm-hmm. The only time talent opts out of the conversation is when you're really unclear of how it accomplishes their goals and their dreams, because you're not clear on the vision. And so if you can offer that clarity to them, and I can show them a path of, listen, look at what we could do together. Then I think producing agents or proven talent want to have those conversations. I'm a firm believer that everyone's looking for an opportunity. Can I just present the right one and create a win-win situation to build a bigger world, not for just me or our organization, but really for them? Again, going back to the service. At the end of the day, if the purpose is to help people fulfill their big goals and their dreams, and I get to be a sideline cheerleader of that, what a fun job to do. And so we, again, just get to guide them into these great, amazing opportunities that benefit their lives and their families.
That's so true. That's so true. Now, I got to ask then, are you, when someone says, okay, Bethany, that sounds great. Yeah, I want to join the group, the team. Now, once they come on the team, do you, or someone that maybe works underneath you, an assistant, whatever, do you guys have any role in the maintaining the retention of them and making sure they are actually hitting their goals and their dreams?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at that point, it's a joint effort, right? They're going to see a lot of me up front in the opportunity conversations. We do have a phenomenal director of sales that on the background, like we've come onto the team, we've made it through our training, and now we're in this business relationship that he's going to coach and mentor them and have a big hand in that moving forward, which creates that retention piece. And then him and I communicate a lot about how we can come alongside of them and help them. Depending on the role, I may play a bigger part with our expansion partners and our locations. They're meeting with me weekly, and we're constantly assessing that culture and the retention piece, and how do we make sure that we're delivering on the promise of what we talked about in that very first conversation. And that's been a big belief of mine, and as well as David's, is those early conversations seem to be very fun because their vision and this opportunity, and then the hard work of delivering on that promise comes. And we want to make sure we're putting that in, and that every box I can go back and say, remember when we talked about that, and we did it, and we did it, and we did it. And so that way they really feel the trust and security of this relationship, which I think ultimately brings a ton of retention, right? When people do what they say they're going to do, that's a place that you can feel safe and comfortable to continue to live out your goals in.
That's awesome. So like, guys, if you have a smaller team, you may not have, someone who can operate in Bethany's role as well as a director of sales role. You might be wearing both those hats, right? So, but if you have a small enough team, that's possible to do. But notice what she said, that the director of sales is obviously on the same page with you, because if not, that could be a recipe for disaster at some point in the short term, right? Or even long term for that matter. But that's really cool you said that. Also, too, I'm going to shift gears here real fast. Success through others. Now, in Keller Williams, guys, there is, and maybe in other organizations, there's these type of classes or manuals that you can follow. But Keller Williams is really good. If you had never had a chance, or even outside the organization, to take the course called Success Through Others, STO, it's awesome. I had a chance to do it a couple times, and it's just great. What does that mean to you from that standpoint, Bethany? What does the Success Through Others mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I agree on the course. I've taken it, I think, 4 or 5 times now. You learn something new every time. Success through others, if I'm being really transparent, I think is hard. It is also one of the most fulfilling successes that I've ever had, because prior, everything is a numbers game, right? Like there's a formula, there is a math piece that I can just piece together in my brain to say, okay, I have to do X in an effort to get Y. Really straightforward. There's not a lot of room for it to be wrong, because this is just perfect formula, and I don't have a lot of variables that mess that up for me. People are the variable. And so then you're coaching different personality types, and life happens in the background. Let's not forget about that. Things are happening in people's lives at a really fast pace that are impacting how they work and how they show up and their motivations. And so much fun when we can work through all those things together to help them succeed. I have never felt more successful than succeeding through others than just completing that success by myself. So then we talk about that, I do it, right? So in the beginning, it's just me, and everything's Bethany centric, which is great. We made money. This is fun. And then we go to a we do it mentality, and I'm working alongside of these people and cheering them on. And guess what? My world got a whole lot bigger when I decided to come alongside of them and help them achieve their goals. I started dreaming bigger than ever. because all of a sudden I had these people who were sharing their goals and dreams, and I'm saying we have to make an opportunity for them. We have to fit them into our world. And what a cool place to be, that a byproduct was my world grew so much. And then as we move to the they do it piece, I know it just grows even bigger and bigger. And so I feel like there's dreams that are happening in my life that would not happen had I not chosen to succeed through others. And so for business owners out there, what are you missing out on because you're so scared to go succeed through others? Because I do it, I can guarantee what's going to happen. But we do it or they do it, all of a sudden I have this variable of personality types and motivators and life and all these things happening. And it feels like it might fail. And yet, how much bigger does your world grow when you're willing to go that route?
Yeah. And I think you have to be willing to like maybe take a one step back to go two steps forward, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. A little bit of that slingshot mentality.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now let's segue into scaling a business, right? There's a lot of people out there who are selling real estate at a high level right now, and they would love to possibly scale their current team even more than what they already have in their local market. But they have heard about this expansion, right? Like, what in the world is this? You mean you can take your real estate team and put it in a whole nother city and possibly a whole nother state? Okay, Bethany, how do you do that? And if you have the ability to articulate, maybe the first several steps in that process, if someone wanted to get started doing that or looking into that today, what would they do?
Yeah, I mean, if you have not even gone down that path, go take a course, right? We know we have in Keller Williams a ton of amazing courses, ESO being one of them, which will walk you through that plan. What do you need to have? I know this is a hot button topic and people are saying, well, I want to expand, or what would that look like? Because it's this unknown frontier. The question in all scenarios now that I've asked myself, and I've had to teach myself as we went into that expansion realm, is no matter what we did, no matter if it was a contract to close process, was it marketing, was it hiring, I would ask myself, could we do this if there were 1,000 agents on our team? If the answer was no, then that was not the right move. Now, do I envision a world where we have 1,000 agents on our team? Maybe. I don't know. At the time, quite frankly, we had 10, right? And so it seemed like a really long way off. So asking yourself that bigger question. I think the second question you're asking yourself is, what am I scaling? Because all of us are scaling something different. I've ran into a lot of business leaders who are trying to scale their personal personality. That's really hard to scale, right? Because there's one of you. And so what are the things that have made you successful that you could go out and almost box up and hand another successful, talented person? And they would be able to take those same key items and follow your success. And it rarely is, well, you just have to be super nice like me, or you have to be really personal or bubbly. I wish we could, but that's just not the case, right? So the figuring out, can I go do this with if I had 1,000 people, and could I do it over and over and over again and have the same result? And then what am I actually taking out of this location and dropping into another location? Because we're all running businesses, right, on different lead generation pieces or different contract to close. Could you box that all up and send it somewhere else? And so once you figure out those two things, you can start to build a plan and a model around how you would go deliver that to someone. And then I'm looking beyond that. I'm looking at areas of what makes sense. Where is real estate happening the way it's worked so well for us across our locations? Where are we referring a lot of deals to? Who's sending us a lot of deals, right? And so then you're looking for those market characteristics that may match up to fit the ones that you've been running at a high level in your original location.
Is it all about the who?
Yes and no. I have gone both ways. And I remember early on when we were researching this, talking to just about everyone under the sun and like, tell me the secret sauce. I think talent obviously makes the difference. And yet I think we could have the most talented person, and if we had the wrong where, I still don't know if it would work to the level we need it to, right? Mm-hmm. I think we would be successful. Would we impact people the way we want to if the market conditions were wrong of the location? I think it would become a lot harder. So I've said, like, is it deep? Is it wide? Honestly, it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
And so it's I think identifying those key places and saying, okay, here's the spot, Now I have to go find the talented individual. And we've done it both ways. We've done the where and then find the who. And we've absolutely had amazing people come into our lives and create an opportunity for them, because it just made sense, right? And you want to get in business with talent.
Absolutely. Now, how do you hold those people accountable in those other cities?
Yeah, I mean, we have over communicated. One of the things at expansion you'll hear a lot is it feels like they're on an island. You've got this amazing hub culture where people were coming and meeting and spending time together. And then you send an agent out 6-7 hours and they don't get the same experience. So for us to combat that, it is an over communication. It's weekly coaching calls, it's weekly sales meetings, it's daily script practices, it's group chats, it's email threads, it's phone calls, it's birthday gifts, it's everything that you can digitalize in an effort to make them feel like they're right there. And then we also will bring those people in several times to our hub location and pay for their travel and have them train in-house so they leave with those feelings of, oh, this is what it's like to work shoulder to shoulder with those people. And I now get to take that back and recreate that locally.
That was awesome, guys. I know you said it pretty fast, but that was like gold, because what you just described was work, right? It's not easy, but it can be very rewarding. Like you said, all the rewarding, fulfilling stuff early on. And now I asked like a nuts and bolts question. You gave it to me, but now someone's listening going, yeah, I don't know about that now. Right.
Yeah. It's a commitment, right? Like I just
Yeah.
committed to helping someone fulfill their goals, and they're 8 hours away. And as much as they're distanced from us, I'm distanced from them. And so now there is that day in and day out of all the activities that ensure that we stay in relationship and we're intentional, and that we provide resources to help them build the big business that we promised up front.
Okay. And Bethany, what's your profile on the disc?
I'm a high DI.
High DI. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you another question. If someone out there is looking to expand and they would like to have another Bethany who's just amazing and will kill it, crush it for them, and enjoys doing what this role has to do with business building, scaling, etc. Would you recommend the compensation program be something where there's some guarantee and a commission bonus, or like everything is just basically bonus? Because
yeah, I mean, I think there has to be a huge chunk that is incentivized by growth and production, right?
Right.
I think they're definitely, depending on what industry you're pulling from, some sort of stability to get people started, because growth takes time. So I know early on for me that looked like some stability until we knew there was going to be a recruiting process and a training process and getting those people into production. And a good portion of it is incentivized by when the team grows and does well and we're all living our big lives, guess what? My life is impacted too. And almost all our employees are set up to some extent that way, because, right, we're all moving towards one goal. And it's amazing when you start really putting that out to people and saying, let's all row the same direction. You get the right people on the bus. You keep them on the bus because they're excited about the goal and they're bought in, because ultimately the giant goal fulfills all the goals beneath that. And so it is getting really comfortable with, there's been many times that we continue to expand the world that is our team greater than we ever imagined, because someone popped into our world and said, hey, I want to be a part of this, and we got to make sure this happens for me to do that. And we've said, okay, let's do this, right? Let's make sure we grow this big enough so that can happen for this person.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And I would say, like, if you could give me just a rough estimate here, if someone's budgeting some expenses, right, for maybe compensation, for marketing, leads, whatever, what would you say on average? I know there's a lot of variables and make this dependent on the case specific situation, but just on average, what would you say someone needs to budget for in terms of runway until they start seeing some revenue coming in from that new expansion location?
Yeah, we budget about a 90-day period that we're going to probably lose money on a location. Now, obviously, that's gone further. I've heard some teams who budget a year. For us, I mean, I think I'd start to be concerned that we were in business with the wrong person at that point. The 90-day mark, we're going to do some like check-ins. Are we getting close? And then from about 6 months in, we should start seeing some bigger returns to calm any fears that were maybe there at the 90-day mark.
So you think you probably see that this is maybe going to work out by 90, but definitely by the 180 days mark.
Yeah. And we've set performance improvement plans to ensure that. And then I'm also going to say those 30, 60, 90s are tight, right? Like we want to make sure if we're not going in the same direction, let's get out of business and do it quick.
Okay. A couple more questions here. This is
Yeah.
good stuff. Dropping nuggets here, Bethany. I love it. What's the goal with the Huffaker Group and your goal, your visions, David's vision? How many locations? Do you have kind of a goal you'd like to reach or get to?
Yeah, sure. I think we all have goals, right? I know for us personally, I think looking at a bigger 5-year plan, which would include north of 35 locations, and some international locations. I know we're super passionate about that, right? We have spent a lot of time creating this phenomenal culture. That is one of the pieces that we are most proud of. And so getting into these relationships where other people get to experience it and their worlds get to grow as a byproduct. I think to do that, we got to go have a lot of locations. We got to get in a lot of relationships. We got to help people build things that maybe they didn't realize they could build until they had the right resources and the right relationships and the right people encouraging them along the way. So I think in the next 5 years, definitely be on the lookout for, 35 plus.
Woo! I love it. Put it out there. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 more questions. What are your top 2 or 3 recruiting sources?
Referrals, hands down, right? Get in. I have found if I want to find great leaders, I better go know a bunch of great leaders. And so that turns into other amazing producers in the area, team leaders, regional directors, operating principals. Go into your world and get in conversation with the leaders. That's one of my biggest ones. And then honestly, what I found early on was a lot of talent existed in our database, maybe not in the form you think, but it was calling in our database and adding that question of like, we've got an amazing opportunity. Who do you know? And it's come through those conversations that we've found some amazing, talented people inside of our organization because they either existed already or someone knew them. And once we started talking about these opportunities that we have, it was like, oh, I didn't know you guys were hiring for that. I know somebody, or, my brother is interested in that. And we got into these amazing relationships. So it still has come back to us to database and referrals. We're a big database team for sure. And it's amazing how when you're consistent with your database, they show up with business and they show up with talent.
That is good. That's good stuff. I love that. Everyone's probably, she's going to say Zip Recruiter, blah, blah, blah.
No. Yeah, we do not. We have very minimal ad spend for talent. Almost all of our talent has come organically through relationships and being consistent with them.
Awesome. Okay. Last question. We ask every guest on this podcast. So what is one thing that you could give to somebody today to take away from this podcast that they could implement in their business, in the next day or week or so, something very quick that they could just start doing right away that would make a difference in their business?
Man, I think the best thing that changed growth, and I'm going to stick to growth, right? There's a lot of things to help you go sell real estate. And I know all of us are growing in different ways. This does not mean you have to go expand. It doesn't mean you have to go grow your team to 50 agents. Whatever you're looking to do, we're looking to grow personally, professionally, you name it. And I think what changed for me was getting crystal clear on the vision, which meant writing a mission statement, writing a vision statement. Not only did we have one, really professionally across the team, but a personal one as well. And that created a lot of clarity for who I was as a leader, because no one is this natural born leader. We have maybe a proclivity to leadership and yet a lot of gaps that we need to fill. And so understanding who that I wanted that to be personally, and also understanding who it needed to be professionally on a team, saying, just created this amazing clarity that helped us grow and start identifying whether that be clients or business partners or opportunity, because now I know where I'm going. How can you move forward if you don't know what you're moving into, right? And so it just really opens up your world to start to recognize. And I quite frankly don't think that needs to take that long to put together. And it's a living, breathing document that can constantly move and change as you move and change too.
Love it. Okay, guys, you heard it from Bethany. You gotta sit down. You gotta think about write it out and spend some time and thought, right? You might have to go to some place that's quiet. Maybe not the Starbucks, right? Maybe I don't know, if it's nice outside, go sit by a tree in a park. I don't know, just someplace by yourself that you can actually have some thinking time to figure out what your vision is and what your goals are, and the key people around you, what theirs are too, so that you can be in alignment together, right? That's huge. Well, Bethany, I'm this is good stuff. I took a lot of notes while you were actually talking. I hope everyone else did too. This is awesome. Elizabeth, do you have any more questions?
No, she laid it out all very nicely. I really like the kind of end part there, and starting with, because you mentioned that earlier, right? Is the having a vision and having like your mission statement, and really doing a lot of self-reflection to get there, right? So that you can help grow yourself in any capacity, whether it's your business or yourself personally. So I love that we left on that. But thank you so much for being here today, Bethany. That was amazing. You are so welcome. And for all of you guys, if you are I hope that you took a lot from what Bethany said. Even if you're not planning on expanding right now, there's a lot of good stuff that she said in there about recruiting, or about just starting to live your life the way you want to. But if you are looking to start growing a team, and maybe somewhere down the line expansion is in there, but first you got to start with the team, make sure you go check out buildyourrealestateteam.com. It is Kelly's whole lesson there on how to do it. Learn from his mistakes, start there, and then make your vision statement, and you can go anywhere, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And if there's anyone that maybe wants to talk to you further, Bethany, or even like join up with the Huffaker Group, right? Because they're in some city that maybe you guys want to go to, where can they get a hold of you at?
Yeah, love that. Absolutely. And always happy to be a resource to people walking these same journeys. But you can reach out to me at Bethany@thehuffakergroup.com, or you can visit jointhg.com as well.
THG. Okay.
And Kelly, if anybody's got questions for you, where can they reach you?
Always, guys, info@kellycookhomes.com is a great email. But if you want to text, I'm good with that too. Call or text 480-227-2028.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both. We will be back next week with some more great knowledge, and we'll see you then. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Bethany.
Bye.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.